guys. I hope y'all doing well today. I really wanted to just talk about patience a little bit, because that's something I struggle with, and many of us just don't have patience. We don't have the patience that it takes to just sit there and wait on God to lead our life and lead our next step. A lot of us go tapping into our flesh instead of our spirituality, the inner us, who we are in the inside. Underneath that flesh, that water that's in it, we don't tap into who we are on a soul level. We go off a lot of our fleshly desires and our fleshly ways. And this is why humans are so flaky, so finicky, just wishy-washy, because we have it's like we do have two sides. We have the flesh, which is of the enemy, and we have the soul level. We have the fluid within us, that water up in us, our pure soul. We have the on a soul level. So we got the evil, which is the flesh, because flesh has evil desires. Flesh does evil things. A lot of the evil that goes on in the world is because of fleshly desires, temptations, because of stuff that will feed the flesh, not really feed the soul. A lot of us, look how our taste buds, I know that's a big one for me. Look how our taste buds will make us eat stuff that we know we shouldn't be eating, that does our soul and our body no justice. But yet, we'll sit there and eat that mess anyway. Because the flesh, that fleshy tongue that we have with those buds that's on it, that's making you crave stuff that you shouldn't be eating anyway. And that's just on like a small spectrum of it, but really not, because that's a huge one for a lot of us. That's huge. We don't even understand that that's our number one arch enemy right there. But I really was just doing this video to say that we have to understand that our timing and God's timing is two different timings. As I was reading Jubilee the other day, what it say? 1,000 human years equals 1 day in the spiritual realm. Do y'all hear that? 1,000 human years. That's fleshly years. 1,000 human years is 1 day in the spiritual realm. 1 day in the spiritual realm. So we be pressed for time when for God and his angels, they like, you still got plenty of time. Like, we take time too serious when time is an illusion. We place certain timelines on our life because man has convinced us that time is this, and you got to do this by a certain age, and you got to have this accomplished by a certain age. So it be causing us to go crazy out here. It causes us to have this anxiety. Like, I realized that with myself and with many of us. We have anxiety because of the fear of the unknown. The fear that we're wasting time. The fear that time is of the essence and we're running out of it. We're almost this age and almost that age. Our kids are almost to college and almost here, and we still don't have this. How are we going to do this for them? And how we always run ourselves crazy. We drive our own selves crazy because we be letting the enemy put these thoughts in our head because we be pressed for time. Look at how many people rushing out the house in the morning. You press for time, trying to make sure you be able to hit the time clock before your 5-minute grace period, before you get an occurrence, before all of this. And you then left something good, something pivotal that you need at home, something that you really need. You done left it at home. You done forgot this. You done forgot that. You done did it because you pressed for time. Because they have put time on our life so that we can run crazy. And we don't have time to really sit and get to know ourselves, get to understand ourselves, get to tap in on a soul spiritual level, because we don't have time to. The world makes sure that we stay busy doing worldly things so that we can't get in tune with ourselves, so that we can't get to know who we really are, what we really called here to do, so that we can't get and spend no time with God and let him lead our life, so that we can't spend time with our kids, our loved ones. Society has groomed us to be workaholics, to desire all these materialistic things that can never serve us in the way that your spirit. But yeah, y'all, like I was saying, many of us can't tap in on a soul level because the world has us so consumed with doing everything else. You know, a lot of us don't sit and be patient and allow God to truly lead us because We feel like when we wait on God, we're waiting forever. It's taking forever. But if I go out here and do it on my own and go off my own will and my own understanding, I'll get it now. I'll get it much faster because we be wanting instant gratification. We be wanting what we want, and we want it, and we want it now. We have so much that we be desiring, and that'll cause us to not listen to God, not listen to our intuition, not let him lead us because we want to go off of flesh. And then we'll have other fleshly people around us who is dictating and putting stuff in our head and telling us, oh, you need to do this, you need to do this, but do it by this date, do it by then. Oh, you should be here, you should be there. Oh, what you're doing is not good enough for your age. You know, we have so many, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but we have so many opinions and so many demands that's put on us as humans. So we be just like walking around with chickens with our head cut off, don't know which way to go. We lost, we trying to figure out this, that's not working. Then we go to this, try to figure out that, that's not working. And that's all a part of God's plan because he'll allow that. He'll allow you to keep making all these right turns and keep ending back up to the same spot because you can't get but so far without him. You can't get so far without him. That's going to fulfill you on a soul level. You can accomplish certain things on your own without letting God lead you, and you can make this money. But baby, you'll get it and you'll lose it. You'll get it and then lose your soul, lose your dignity, lose your integrity because you're not including God and you're not letting God lead you. So sometimes when God making us be patient, it's because for one, he see things ahead that you don't. For two, he needs you to learn certain things before you get to that next level, before you do that certain thing. For three, he needs to teach you. He needs to teach you what to do. He needs to teach you how to handle certain things. He needs to teach you how to come to him first. He needs to teach you the value of patience. Because sometimes had you just waited 5 more minutes before you left the house, you could have avoided that incident that happened. Had you just waited a couple more months before you jumped into a new relationship, you could have avoided another heartbreak. Had you just waited before you hurried up and accepted the first offer that came to you and accepted the first offer amount that they gave you, you could have negotiated for a higher salary. You could have negotiated and waited for a better position. But being quick and hurrying and rushing and having no patience because you just want stuff and you want it now because you feel like you got things you need, you know, because we know as humans, there's things that humans need to survive, but God won't always provide what you need. He might not always give you what you want right when you want, but he definitely gonna provide what you need, you know. But because sometimes we used to having this, or maybe we're not used to having this, we're not used to having that. We see other people with this and we see other people with that. We're like, dang, why can't I have that? Why don't I have that? Why, you know, why can't I have what I used to have? Or, you know, yada, yada, yada. So we'll sit there and it'll start making us go off our flesh and getting anxiety, getting depressed because we don't have it, getting anxiety because we want something, but we don't know how we're going to get it. The fear of the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen next month. We don't know what's going to happen next year. So we're so worried. We have to learn to stop worrying so much. That's a big one for me. That's all anxiety is. You're worrying. You're worrying too much about something that you don't have no control over. And the things that you do have control over, then yes, you need to fix it. But ultimately, where are we? But ultimately, God is taking you through that season for a reason. For one, a lot of times God will allow us to fall and fall and fall again. He'll allow us to keep making all these right turns, to come back to square one. And then we keep doing these 360, ending up in the same spot, no different thing. We just keep doing the same thing and coming right back to the same spot because he needs you to learn something. There's something that you haven't learned, which is why you keep going in a circle, going in a circle, going in a circle. He needs you to keep him first. God is a jealous God. He wants us to keep him first. He wants us to keep him first in everything that we do. Everything. He wants us to seek and confide in him the way you want to confide in these friends. Y'all be confiding in social media people, and you just feel like if you get in the presence of this person, that things will be better. You'll be able to pick up their energies and to be more like them because you got these idols that you out here idolizing off of social media, or your own parents being your idols, and all these people who can't do for you. They can never do for you what God can do for you. They can never lead you where the places that God can lead you because they are human. No human can ever do for you what God can do for you. Because humans only know but so much. Even the psychics, mediums, they only know but so much. It's a cap on how much they can tell you. It's a cap. They might can prophesy your future, but they can't tell you the steps in between. So from here to there, they can tell you what the future gonna be. They can tell you where you are right now, but they can't tell you the interim in the middle of how you're gonna be able to get to this point. Only God can do that. Only God can do that. And when we don't put God first and we don't let him lead and we just start going off our own understanding, going off of flesh, letting everybody dictate to us and want to confide and look for validation from everybody else, we'll do ourselves a disservice. You want to put God first, let him lead your life. I promise you. It ain't the easiest thing, because when I tell you, me and God be in him, he already know. I had to talk to him this morning and apologize for getting mad at him yesterday. And one thing about it is he going to community. It's so interesting, and it make me mad because it's like, you be wanting to be mad at him. Like, one thing about it is God knows I will cut anybody off. And the way God be doing sometimes, I be like, if you was a human person, I would have been cut you off, bruh. I would have been cut you off. But because I'm loyal to him and I know that he is the highest power, like, it's not... He's not moved by your little feelings. He know what he's doing for you. You need to sit there and just have faith in him and let him do what he do, because he not on human time, because human time is an illusion. And it takes humans 1,000 years to accomplish what God can. That's why what God can do in one day, a human can never. A human can never. 1,000 years is equivalent to one spiritual day. One day in the heavenly realm. One day. This is in the book of Jubilees. So when I read that, because it was like that Adam didn't even make it. He didn't make a whole life. Like, even though he lived 930 years, he didn't make it to the 1,000th year because God told him. And that's a whole nother really different video. But because, for the curse, for what him and Eve did, he was cursed. You're gonna die. For dust you are, for dust you will return. You're gonna die. But he lived 930 years and thought that, hey, I guess I didn't die after all. No, you still died because you didn't make it in one day in the heavenly realm. It's just so interesting as I be reading that stuff, but it put into perspective that, dang, that's why we be on time, acting like we're running out of time. But baby, compared to God's time, we got many more years to go. We got much more time to go. But we be putting like a time restraint on our life because of what society has done, and because they manipulate us. It's a bunch of mind control. They're after the minds of the population. They're after the minds of humans. They're after the minds of humans. The enemy is after your mind. This is why you got to train your mind. This is why you got to get closer to God. You got to learn how to go off of your inside. Go off of the God within you. Listen to him when he's telling you stuff. Listen to your intuition and your discernment. Listen to you. Listen to the inside. Don't listen to all the noise on the outside of you. Sometimes don't even listen to that negative voice that's in the inside of your head, because it's trying to get you off your narrow path. Stop letting the fear of the unknown take you in circles, because you rush and jumping this, jumping that. And then all you're doing is putting yourself in further bondage. You setting yourself up. You thinking doing this, this quick, Lord, let me do this to make some quick money. Let me do this to do this, to get over somebody quick. And all you doing is setting yourself up. Look how many people think, if I jump one man to another man, if I jump one woman to another woman, it's going to erase my pain from the last person. And then you get with the same person, the same spirit in a different body, and they do the same things to you. And then you got the nerve to reveal everything the last person did. You tell them that person thinking that they're shoulder to cry, and the whole time they sitting up here listening to all the ways that they're going to be able to trick you too. And now you wondering why, dang, you done got bamboozled by this person too. Then you go to the next person, getting bamboozled by that person. You doing anything for money, and you wonder why you get bamboozled, why you get yourself into more debt, why you get yourself into the same situations, because you don't have the ability to capability. Well, you have it, but you don't want to sit around and wait. We so eager because we go off the flesh. The flesh of us is so eager. That's why I just be under that. Sometimes I just wish we would never have came into human form. It's too hard being a human, baby. It is too hard because we have this flesh. We have this flesh to protect our the insides of us. Why are we? It's like we have this flesh, and it makes it much more easier to go off of that. And our flesh gets us into a world of trouble. Like, you know, but I ain't trying to make this video super long or whatever. But one thing I just want to say is we got to learn to be more patient and wait on God. And sometimes that might take years. It might take months, years. As somebody who's on this journey, on my spiritual walk, been letting God lead my life for the past 3 years since 2020, and more so since I moved to Texas last year in February 29th or 28th, whatever the last day of February was last year. I moved that last day. And this whole past year, it's definitely been trying because my flesh wants what it wants. My flesh does desire certain things, but my soul also desires certain things. And it's through this season that I've gotten soul fulfillment for the things that I really want. For learning who I am, why am I here? Why do I have the behaviors I have? Why have I came up in a certain type of environment, a certain type of family? Why have I always attracted certain type of people? Why? All the whys that you have about yourself, any why that you want to know about yourself, that's what you're going to learn on your spiritual journey in your season of isolation where it's just you and God, where you're sitting back relying on God to pay your bills, when you're sitting back relying on God to feed you and your children, for God to provide back to school stuff for you and your children, for God to figure out how you're going to get from point A to point B. When you're sitting back and waiting on God, that's when He's going to reveal all these things. And He wants you to fully trust in Him. He wants you to rely on Him and His time and not your time and not what your mama and them time it is, not what they say you should be doing, why you should be. He don't want you doing that. He wants you to rely on Him and always keep Him first so that He can always lead you. So even when you get out of your isolation season, when you get out of your season of wilderness, when you get out of your season of the trenches, when you get out of the rag season and go to the riches season, you know to always keep Him first, to always seek Him first, to always look for that validation from Him, to always confide in Him. We be trying to confide in humans with stuff that humans can't even help you with. Because a lot of humans only telling you stuff off of a fleshly level. They're not tapped in. They're not deep enough. A lot of humans are surface level creatures. Surface level. They very surface level. They can't even go deep with you to tell you why you even going through some of the stuff you're going through. They can't even tap in with you. They can't relate to you. And even if they can relate on a trauma level, they can't help you escape that. Because that's something that God has to do. That's something that you get in a connection with God, building that union relationship with Him, talking to Him multiple times a day. Like the same thing you do with these fleshly made people, that's the same stuff you got to do with God. And trust you me, it's more reward when they coming from God, because He going to show you things that no man, no human can show you. He going to show you what no human can show you, right? He gonna lead you to greater heights than any human could ever lead you to. Because humans as flesh, we don't know half of what we really think we know. We don't. We be thinking we know it all, we got it all, we done reached certain levels and we that and we on our high horse. No. A lot of people have accomplished a lot in the material world, but in the spiritual world, ain't accomplished nothing because you haven't found out who you are and why you're here and what your mission is. You haven't understand the life cycle of life and death and spirituality. And that's what we're here to do. You're here to understand your soul mission. You're here to, the soul is what's going to heal the things that about you that keep attracting toxicity into your life. This is why it's important to do what they say is shadow work. This veil, this stuff here that I can touch here, this ain't me. It ain't you. This is your covering for the inside. For your soul that's inside of this. This is just the host for your soul. That's all it is. And we be so caught up onto this stuff, fleshly things. We be caught up onto that. When this serves, this ain't gonna take you that far. Pretty looks might get you somewhere in a short-term success. But it ain't going to fulfill that. It's not going to heal that brokenness in you. It don't matter how much you dress it up. Because I see, this is why I be saying a lot of people, we're dressed up trash buckets. You might look good, pretty, long hair, beautiful skin, beautiful body, nice shape, nice this. Good for the men, you got your muscles. That's just the outer. what your inside's looking out. Because it don't matter how you dress that mess up. You can dress a trash bucket up. You can go buy some Christian Dior, some Gucci paper, some cute wrapping paper, and wrap some mess up. Wrap that trash can up. Nonetheless, it's still a dressed up trash bucket. Nonetheless, it's still full of trash and it stinks. You don't want to be a dressed up trash bucket. You don't want to be a dressed up trash bucket. You want to make sure that your inside is just as cute as your outside. Make sure your mind and your intellect is just as sharp as you dressed up sharply on the outside. And a lot of people, this is how it's so easy for people to get deceived by what look good. Everybody go off of what look good, what look like success. This is why social media got people in bondage, because everybody puts up the highlights of their life, which might not even really be highlights. It be facades. It be fake. They go here, stand and take a picture in front of somebody else's car. They go stand, take a picture in front of somebody else's house. They take a picture and Photoshop a whole beach background, make it seem like they living a life. Some people robbing Peter and robbing Paul and robbing everybody just to go and look like they on all these excursions all the time. You really don't know what these people out here doing. So you going off of what you see, and it's making you feel incompetent, making you feel like you're not doing enough, making it seem like you're not at the level you need to be at. When everything ain't really what it seems. And half these people that sit there and promote all this vanity to you guys and promote worldly things to you, materialistic things, is because they have no real value. And real value comes from the inside, baby. Real value is raw gifts and talents that God put within you. Raw. Stuff that no man could take from you. No matter if you get stripped from everything you have, your gifts will make you truly valuable. Is something that no man could ever take from you. It's the one thing that God instilled in you. It's the one thing that matters above all the things that look good on the outside of you. This stuff is just fake. And this stuff changes. This stuff is an illusion. And you can't be tricked because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, all in all, I really did this video just to say, be patient, wait on God. Stop letting flesh trick you out your spot. Stop letting the tricks of the enemy trick you out your spot. Be patient and wait on God. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's definitely rewarding on a soul level, you know. And then it will put you in a position where you're fighting against flesh and soul, because it's like, oh, I want these things. But on a soul level, that stuff serves you nothing. Because like they say, you can't take it with you necessarily when you go. This beautiful little body that you have, when your soul dies, your body is still left there. Even that don't go with you. That's why I say this is just a carcass, if that's the word. This is just a veil. It's just a covering. It's just a host. It's literally like a freaking box for your soul. It just holds your package. It holds you. It holds the inner you behind. This don't even go with you when you die. It stays there, and your soul leaves up out of your body. Your soul leaves up out of your body. That water in you dissolves or evaporates. Evaporates right out of your body into the air. Right? Evaporates right through those pores. All this stuff starts to melt away. What is that little scripture? For you are, why do you worry so much about tomorrow? That's the one scripture. God always send me that, because I'll be going back and forth sometimes with my anxiety. 1 minute I'm good. I'm not tripping about, you know, everything. Then the next minute something will come up, like birthday is coming up. And I'm like, man, even that stuff, it's like, even that, it's like, it's not even really that serious. But to us as humans on a fleshy level, birthdays are serious. It's another year. And the whole time, we don't even really know. If you really think about that in the grand scheme of things, because they just switched up the calendars and the dates and all, they've been literally switched stuff up so much. A lot of our birthdays ain't even really our birthdays. And the dates that they tell us, the dates, it just be off, because once upon a time, some of the calendars didn't even have a week of, was it like the 20s? That the Julian calendar versus the Gregorian calendar versus all these different calendars. So it's like, we really don't even really know what our real birthday is. We don't even really know these dates and times and all of this made up stuff that they done made up. That they done changed up so much stuff. We don't even really know, but we be so letting these dates stress us. Oh, my birthday coming. Oh, I gotta look like this for my birthday. Oh, this for my birthday. That's why God be like, bruh, you would worry about that little birthday. You worried about that fake stuff. Like, you worried about that. And now you letting that stress you out. Because your kid's birthday is coming up. I know that's one thing about me, and God know I love my kids. My kid's birthday coming up. I don't care if I don't ever do nothing on my birthday. But one thing about it, I don't care about, I care about myself, but I want my kids to be happy, especially with birthdays for them. I want their birthdays for them to always be, you know, something that they remember, even though half the time they ain't gonna remember stuff. But my daughter, she really does remember her birthdays. And I just like to make it special for my kids, because I know a lot of stuff wasn't taken that serious for me as a child. Not to say that my mom never did nothing for me for my birthdays, especially like when I was younger, but it's just as time went on, my birthdays, that's why I don't take my birthdays that serious. I just be like, whatever. I'm not that person who care about my birthday. Like, I really don't. I don't care about my birthday. It just be like, all right, whatever. It's another day for me. I'm happy to have made it to another year, but it still just be like another day for me. But for my kids' birthdays, I really like to make sure I buy them all the toys. I really just be liking them to have an experience. But even with that, and that's what I also had to learn on this journey, is like, girl, stop. You buy too much stuff for them dang on kids. One, this was the importance of us going on this journey. It was to humble me, humble my children, you know, especially like my first daughter, because life in Maryland, when we was in Maryland, my baby, it was never time. Every time we go to Walmart, she can get a toy. Every time we go here, she getting something. Like, that was my baby. Like, especially when she was my only child, I spoil her. I look back at our pictures, and I'd be like, dang, girl, you had it all. That Christmas, the last Christmas that we had before we came to Texas, it was too much. No one child should have all those Christmas toys. And now looking back on it, I'm like, I'm glad she did have all those toys, because she went a long time without having all of that. Granted, on our spiritual journey, on our time here in Texas since we've been here, she still have gotten toys and stuff, but it's not as much as she had before. But she still got stuff because her dad is still, buy his gift for her birthday and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm still gonna get her stuff that I can, but it's just been real different. And you just gotta enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. Stop worrying about the future so much. Stop worrying about the past. Focus on today. Because what does that Bible scripture say? For you are just a vapor that's here today. You're just a mist that's here today, gone tomorrow. Why are you basically, I'm gonna put the scripture up here, but it was basically like, why are you so worried about tomorrow? Worry about what you're going to eat tomorrow. Worry about what you're going to wear, what you're going to do. Tomorrow has its own worries. Why are you worried so much about tomorrow? Worry about today. Like, worry about today. Enjoy today. Live for the moment. Stop living and working so much for a future, because you don't even know if you're really going to make it there. But in the same aspect, you don't want to just live so frivolously and not move strategically. Because some people do be so, I'm living for today, I'm going to get this money today and just splurge it all today. And then tomorrow your butt going to be crying. So it's like, you got to have balance, you got to have responsibility, but don't worry too much. I think I did a video about this, about what you do today affects your tomorrow. That was like a couple months ago. Well, not that long ago. But I've been talking about in this video. So I'm going to put that little scripture up here though, because we do, and that's what causes anxiety. I especially know for me, that causes me a lot of anxiety, because I be so wanting to be like, okay, oh, I got this much more time. Okay, what's going to happen? But it was a point during this journey where I just was like, man, forget it. Whatever happens is what happens. But it is hard, because it's like, that's the fleshly thing to do. It's like flesh. It's like, and when we have these two parts of us, that's why all humans are flaky, because we have two sides of us. All humans do. We spiritual people. We spiritual beings having human experiences. We have flesh, We're not just made of water. We're made of blood too. We're made of flesh too. So it's easy to start going off of that. And when we go off the flesh, that's what the enemy wants us to do, because that feeds his motive and his agenda for us, which is do as you will, do as you want. He wants us to do what you want, and your flesh wants things. So he wants you to do anything that can satisfy that flesh. So if your flesh is craving intimacy, do anything you can to get that intimacy. If your flesh is craving a certain food, do anything you can to satisfy that craving. If your flesh is craving a certain lifestyle, you'll do anything to get that lifestyle, even if it means rob, steal, kill from your own friend, your own family member, your own, you'll do it because you want to satisfy that fleshly desire. We need to learn to satisfy our soul on a soul level. What brings your soul peace? What allows you to rest easy? What allows you to be able to sleep good at night without having to take external things? What allows you peace without having to run to these vices? That's what you want to be figuring out. How can you get peace on a soul level? Okay? So, stop worrying so much. Stop worrying so much about the past. Stop letting the past trick you, because that's where depression comes from. You're so dwelling on the past, you can't get up out the past. And then anxiety comes from you can't get up out the future. You're so worried about tomorrow. You gotta just live for today. Can't worry about the past so much. Remember what happened in the past so that you don't be bamboozled again. Consider your future, but don't dwell too much on it to where you can't enjoy the right now. Set up things, do things, move strategically so that you can prepare for your future, so that you're not out here stressing then, so that you're not leaving behind a bunch of debt and sins and stuff to your children. So you do need to be partially careful about what you're doing today, because what you do today is going to affect your children, their children. Because the sins you commit today, your kids might have to pick up for them sins. So be very wary of that. But overall, just give yourself grace and just take today for what it is. Focus on what your objective is for today. Get that done. When tomorrow comes, what is your objective for that day? All these objectives and little things that you do every day is going to pan out and lead you to your end plan anyway, and the end plan that God has for you anyway. So I'm going to leave that here, you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.